Hello, my name is Neda, and this is officially the second episode of my knitting podcast. And I am filming this right after filming my everything I knitted during the year 2023. So I have already sat here for like maybe 2 hours. Like the sun has sun has come up, and I'm starting to get hungry. But I thought that I was so excited to talk about my works in progress because I decided to show only like finished object in my last video, like the everything I did during last year. So yeah, this video will be a lot shorter and I will be showing only my works in progress, but those are a pretty exciting bits, so just stay tuned and let's get into it. So this one is the Busan sweater by Aegyoknit. Aegyoknit. Well, anyway, and this is kind of a stash buster, and it has been on a hold for a while since I did run out of the second yarn. So this is knitted in Drops Lima in the like a really pale gray color, like the lightest of the grays, and then one strand of Holst-Garn Coast, which is a cotton and a wool yarn blend, and as you can see, it's really thin. It's almost like a lace weight, but it's a light fingering, and this is the color ecru, so just like a basic white. And these are both from my stash. So the story behind the Lima is that last year I decided to knit a sweater from my partner, and I chose to do the Petit Knit Louvre sweater in Lima, and I started knitting it, and I think I made the size as like small, and it was way too big. I don't know what happened. Maybe I was knitting it really loosely, and it had such, it's a knitting pattern for women, and I think those tend to have a lot more positive ease like built in than men's. So I just thought, like, my partner uses most of the time like small or medium men's sweater, so small should be probably fine, and it was way too big, so I just frogged it. And I realized also that the color I had chosen was more like me color, not necessarily my partner's. He likes all colors, but it wasn't his favorite, and it is my favorite. So I'm using it now. It's a nice yarn. I had a problem with Drops Flora. It was too itchy, but Lima for some reason it doesn't feel that itchy, especially since I'm holding it with another yarn that is probably like one of the most non-itchy yarns I have ever tried, and it's the Coast, and that's probably because it has a lot of cotton in it. So yeah, you can even really see that it's marled. They are so close, the colors, like a white and a really light gray, which is already like not unicolor, it's mixed. I think that's the word they use on their website. But yeah, this is the smallest size. I'm using the right set of needles, I think, and this has been on hold for a few months since I did run out of the ecru. I ordered one ball of this yarn last summer. I was supposed to make a summer knit with it, and then I realized it's too light for the project I was planning on using it. So now I'm using it with this one, but obviously one ball isn't enough for a whole sweater, and they didn't have it in stock. So I have been just waiting, and last week I was able to order some more of this, and it should arrive this week, so I can continue this one. And this will be such a nice oversized and warm sweater for Finland's winter. I'm from Finland, I didn't mention it earlier, and it has been so cold here during the last few weeks. Like, I can't remember a winter as cold as this for like at least Last time it was this gold, it was probably when I was a child, and I had those like overalls, and they get me warm. Right now the warmest jacket I own is a leather jacket, so I'm freezing outside. But I have noticed that the combination of a nice woolen sweater and a leather jacket is really good, even if it's like minus 20 degrees. So yeah, I'm really excited to get back to this. It has this beautiful cable, like a really interesting looking cable on it, and this isn't such a popular pattern I would think it would be, because I see this all the time in my Instagram, and I have seen a red version and like a really dark green version, and the original one of the original versions, which is like a dark blue, almost black, is also really nice. And Aegyoknit also made one in like a really bright orange. They are all so beautiful. I don't know why this pattern isn't more popular than it is. Maybe one reason is that it doesn't have a good size range. At least I think it might have just like 3 sizes, 4 sizes. It has 4 sizes, but you know, this pattern doesn't have appropriate size for me. I'm modifying this a little bit to be a little bit smaller, since I don't want it to have so much ease. So I still bought the pattern even though it doesn't have a size for me, but that is something to keep in mind. It's a different thing to make the smallest size a little bit smaller, like making decreases to the body, than like completely inventing a new size, I think. So yeah, that's something to note, that the size range isn't great, but otherwise the pattern is pretty nice. Yeah, so the next project is a my oldest whip. Well, I will show it anyway, and I'm not even like ashamed that it has been a whip so long. I started this last spring, and this is the Moonset tee by Ozetta, I think, and I am using the same yarn, meaning this is also Holstgarn Coast, just in colorway black, and it isn't as see-through as it seems right here. You know, there is a window right behind it, but it is a lightweight yarn. But yeah, and I am going to make it a long sleeve because I don't like t-shirts. So, you know, I have just accepted the fact that this is a slow project. I don't mind it. I have no rush. This is more like a spring or autumn piece to wear anyway, so there is no idea of me knitting it right now. I have finished the body. It's a little bit, it has been at the bottom of my whip pile, so it's a little bit it looks a bit weird, but yeah, it's I will get it finished at some point. I just don't know when, but I really like it. It's a nice construction. It's such a clean look. Like, this color looks so professional. You can't really see anything, but if you look other like sample pics of the pattern, you will see what I mean. And I think Coast is a nice yarn for this. It's a lightweight, but when you block it, it will bloom like really nicely. It isn't as see-through as it seems. And yeah, I think 3mm needles are perfect for this yarn, and it's such a lightweight knit. Like, it's amazing. But it does require a lot of like patience to make this happen. But yeah, and then I have my most recent whip, which I have been working on solely during the last few weeks. And wait a second, I will get it. I have 2 balls attached to it, so it's a bit difficult to move it around, but wait a second. So this is the Waffle Loop Roll Neck by Other Loops, but to be completely honest with you, I do not own the pattern, so this is This isn't the same sweater you see on her website or on her Ravelry, but it is so heavily inspired by it that I would almost consider it like that it is the same sweater. It just has the different shoulder construction and stitch numbers, because I do not have the pattern. I don't know how she did it. It seems like it's a drop shoulder. Mine is the same construction as Leon's sweater, since I have that pattern, so I just used the same construction, a little bit of different stitch counts, but the motifs, the waffle motifs, is the same than in the other loops pattern. And I think you know, the only reason why I'm freehanding patterns is that I'm a student. I don't have a stable income, so I'm trying to save if I can, and I feel like a lot of patterns don't have a size that fits me the way I like it to fit. Like usually I am the smallest size on most of the patterns, but they have such a large what is it, positive ease that I don't like it. I like my sweaters to fit in a certain way, and most patterns don't have a size that would fit me that way. Most of the time designers say that just pick a smaller size if you want to have a garment that fits more closely, or like it's more form-fitting. But usually I'm already knitting the smallest size, so you know that isn't an option. So most of the time I just freehand my patterns, but if you want to make something similar to this, there is a pattern out there. You don't have to freehand it. I'm using a fingering weight merino and a strand of coast, which is one of my favorite yarns, as you can see, which is a lace weight. So it's kind of a good dupe for or like a good what is it called? Like, not dupe. It's a good substitute for mohair. Obviously it's a little bit thicker and it doesn't act like mohair, but if you really hate mohair as I do, it's really itchy. And I don't really like lace weight alpaca either. This is coast is a really nice substitute for those. If it's easily available to you, I would recommend you try it. The only thing to keep in mind is that it is a cotton and wool blend, so it doesn't really stretch. And if you use it with wool, it still makes the garment less stretchy than if it was just wool. So it doesn't like return to a shape as easily as a wool garment would, if you get what I mean. You guys there watching this video are probably knitters too, so you know the struggles of working with the plant-based fibers. And coast, even though it has 50% of wool, does have those same problems. It doesn't stretch at all, but it blooms beautifully and it has such a wide color range, and it's really affordable compared to even alpaca lace weight alpaca, or not to like mention mohair. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent. I was supposed to talk about the pattern. So the Waffle Loop Roll Neck pattern. Oh, it's such a beautiful pattern. Like, I feel like lately there has been a lot of patterns from other loops and Aegyoknit which have inspired me. They are older patterns, but maybe something in my personal style has changed, but there is a lot of patterns I want to knit from them, and probably few I have to buy since I don't know how to make that happen. But when it comes to Waffle Loop Roll Neck, I was able to figure it out without the pattern. But if you want the help and support from the pattern, it does have 6 sizes, which isn't like the worst out there. And yeah, it's worsted weight. Mine isn't worsted, it's probably like a heavy DK weight or even DK weight. And that is because of my yarn choices, but also because of this merino yarn I'm using. So this is a small ball, but I have a like a full yarn right here. So this is a Nordic yarn, and it's their Helsinki base, and I think they only sell this as like a non-dyed 100 gram skein. And this is actually a 2-ply. As you can see, it's such a soft, like this is probably the softest yarn I have ever touched, like even way more softer than all merino yarns. And it's also a really lightweight since it's only 2-ply. And I really like this. I wish they would have this in more colors, since I don't know how to dye yarn, but I did buy this a few, and this is also affordable. So I bought this for this project and one future project, and I am planning to dye this, so wish me luck. But yeah, right now I'm using it as a non-dyed. So the construction of that yarn is one of the reasons why this sweater is so lightweight. So I'm sorry, this is so like disorientated, but the coast is in color ivory, which isn't like their widest white. It's more like, well, ivory. And for some reason it's the exact same color as this natural white, even though they look completely different. Well, not completely, but a bit different when they're in cakes, but knitted up they look really similar. And for some reason I really like this white. I don't like whites in general, but something about this white is making me go crazy, and I just want to finish it, since I think this would be the perfect sweater to wear during January. Yeah, so that's about that. And so yeah, this is my last whip I wanted to show you guys, and it looks like this. And these are the Doppeltöffle. It's from Sadness Garn, but it's made by Liv Stangeland, and it's a free pattern. It's on Ravelry. They have it in Norwegian or Danish or Swedish, I'm not sure what language, but they also have an English version linked in the pattern site, like as a PDF. So that's the one I'm following, and let's see how they have, well, they call it double slippers. So yeah, don't get me wrong, this was such a hard, like, I wouldn't recommend this pattern. I would recommend you reading the pattern if you want to make like a felted slippers, and then watching some YouTube videos. I found a few really helpful ones just by typing double slippers or Doppeltöffle on YouTube, but I was having such a hard time with the construction, and I'm not even like a newbie knitter. So they're like this. You start here, and then you just knit forward, and then you knit like one leg of this, you cast on right here, and then you move on to this leg and you knit this. And you know, I really freehanded this. This is the wrong yarn. It's not the correct weight. It's lighter than the Sadness Garn Freetig yarn they suggested. And I'm also using smaller needles because the yarn is lighter, and because I don't have 5.5 needles and I was too lazy to buy them. So I'm using 5mm needles, but it's going good this far. These are for me, even though they look like gigantic. And my shoe size is like 41 or 42 in European sizes. But I'm knitting these according to the biggest size, which is for people with 44 to 46 sized shoe. So yep, I'm just hoping this will be fine. You know, let me show you. Most of you have probably seen these around YouTube, because I have seen some other YouTube podcasters make these, but the finished projects look so nice. I'm just so excited. It has been so cold here, and my studying desk is right next to our balcony door, so there is this draft coming in like all hours during the day. And I'm getting so cold, even though I have like already like hand knitted woolen socks on. Even sometimes I even have two like on top of each other, and my feet are still cold. So yeah, this is how it will look when it's ready, and obviously I have to felt it. But I haven't made just one pair. I have to make another. So yeah, that's something I will do. And I think I want to make another pair if these are successful. But I saw that a lot of people use Drops Alaska as a substitute for the Sadness Gone Freetics garn, and you know, it's the same weight, so that would be using that would be way more hassle-free than whatever this is I am doing. If you're interested in this yarn, it's on my Ravelry, but it's discontinued, and I think it's only sold in Finland, and it doesn't necessarily fit this project. So I don't know why would you be interested in this yarn. But anyway, yeah, it's an Icelandic wool, so I thought it would felt as well as the Freetics garn. But yeah, we will see. I will update you guys on this. And then I don't have, oh, I do, I'm lying. I have one sock. It's Tuike socks by Ronja Sodersved, maybe. Well, anyway, it's published in Novita and it's called Tuike. And yeah, I'm using Novita's Nalle in white. It's a DK weight, basic sock yarn, and I did make a few modifications to this since it was way too small and I was having problems with the fit. I haven't really knitted cabled socks before, so I was having trouble with the fact that it wasn't stretching like a normal sock. And I was also using smaller needles than recommended, so that might have caused a problem, but this sock is fine. And I just have to knit another one. And this was a stash poster, so yeah. Then I have one roll of yarn, which I'm planning to use really soon. I just wanted to show it to you guys since I'm so inspired by the color, even though it's just like a basic navy blue. And this is also Novita's yarn. It's a really easily accessible yarn for me, so I use it a lot. And this is a yarn that is discontinued, so I got it on sale, and it's just a basic fingering weight, like a hard wearing wool sock yarn. And I'm planning to do some basic ribbed or probably ribbed socks for this winter with this one. And yeah, that's about it. I have some nice plans for the future. I will probably talk more about those maybe later on, but I have one thing I want to mention, which is that I'm planning to start a new sweater, and it would be the twist loop sweater by Other Loops again. And I'm planning to use the Filchlana's Peruvian Highland wool in navy blue, but it's out of stock in my local yarn shop, so I'm just waiting it to be back in stock, and then I can knit the perfect, like, really thick woolly sweater for this winter. Thanks for watching, and see you sometime in a few months, maybe.